Ammavaripeta Cheruvu, near Warangal, is one of the few unpolluted lakes in this area. This beautiful lake, surrounded by lush green fields, was constructed in AD 1213 by the Kakatiya king Ganapati Deva. It is located about 1.5 kilometers from the ancient Kakatiya capital of Warangal and 3 kilometers from the town of Kazipet. Every year, a large number of migratory birds make this spectacular lake their home. And this year, there was a surprise visitor, the Spur-winged Lapwing. This is a unique and first-time visitor to the Indian subcontinent. Arriving around sunrise, we had just about settled down with our gear when the Spur-winged announced his arrival with a series of calls and landed on a little spit of land just in front of us. The sun was rising behind us, bathing the entire scene in lovely golden light. The spur-winged is a medium-large plover, often locally abundant in its usual range of the eastern Mediterranean and in a wide band from sub-Saharan West Africa to Arabia. It is a noisy and easy to identify bird, and its plumage is a striking combination of black, white and brown. A very vocal bird, it produces piercing and repeated calls, and it helps to identify the bird when it's around. It is found around wetlands, but also away from water in cultivated areas like the habitat here, and even in suburban and urban settings. It forages mainly for arthropods, but also small reptiles and amphibians. And it lays its eggs on the ground, often very aggressive against invaders into its territory, be it a crow or a falcon. And they are also active at night. The two birds which I'm told are here, the last time we were here, we heard the second bird, didn't see it. Both are males. So the question now is, will these try to mate with the locally abundant red-wattled lapwings? Or will they eventually at some point make their way back to their home territory? But from what I've seen here in my visits, it seems very likely that the spur-winged will mate with the red-wattled lapwings, because they seem to keep chasing them around and keep their company almost all of the time. There are numerous instances when I've seen the red-wattle fly off and the spur-wing follows it from one perch to another. And you can see the same thing in my video as well, where they are in very close proximity to each other, but they haven't yet mated. This was the sight that greeted us on our first visit, just as we had settled down, and the bird came in after a series of calls literally announcing its arrival. And I was on the 600 with the 2x, and which basically meant 1200 full frame, and this is a view. I mean, spectacular golden light, and the bird has come and perched right in front. The bird gets its name from a spur-like appendage, which you see here, and I'm sure as we see more of the bird, it will give an opportunity to photograph the spur more distinctly. And whenever that happens, I'll take a picture. They use this wing claw to attack other animals who may be threatening them or their offsprings. They also use these spurs when they are diving from above to scare potential predators or intruders away from their nest. And that is when you hear their call, the alarm calls, which sounds like an alarm clock going off. I'm sure as I document the lapwing, at some point it will display its other wing against the backdrop, where I hope the spur will be more distinctly visible and easily observable. Let's see. I'll try and freeze the moment then, and hopefully it will be clearly visible. There. I'm not sure where this bird has come from, but it's because it's rarely seen beyond its usual habitats. in Africa. But from what I know, it's usually the Greek and Turkish bred birds which sort of migrate to other regions. So maybe I'm just thinking aloud here and hazarding some guesses. Maybe it is a bird which has flown in from either Greece or Turkey or the regions there, and not one of the African natives. And another curious behavior is that because there are just these two here, is that why they're keeping the company of the red wattle, or is it that they're trying to mate with the red wattle? Will they mate, and will that be a subspecies? I'm just thinking aloud. I have no idea, but it is very interesting and curious that a bird from such distant places has either accidentally come here or they are just out looking for fresher habitats, more favorable habitats.
red wattle is on the left. दूर है वो, चले जाओ.
This little patch of land is very close to where I'm told it is roosting in some rocks. Or there are some huge boulders slightly to the left of this frame, and that's where I'm told it is roosting. And curiously, it has followed the red wattle lapwing here too, as there is just the red wattle and the spur-wing. They seem to have found themselves a little private spot for themselves. So hopefully they will mate and we will be able to document that behavior as well. Fingers crossed. I am shooting through some reeds here just to get a different perspective. So as the reeds sway in the wind, there is a green cast on the frame, and then as they move away, it disappears. But this view, it's the same strip of land, but it gives a side-on instead of a head-on. So it creates a very, very different and much better perspective, I think. The entire recording, the entire video that you see here was recorded on the Canon 1DX Mark II wearing the 600mm with and without both the extenders, the 2X and the 1.4. The audio was recorded on a Deity VMic D3 Pro with a Beach-Tech preamp to improve the clarity of the audio. The voiceover was also recorded on the same microphone. What else? I've also used circular polarizer and ND filters to eliminate reflections and improve the color, make it richer, and the ND to cut down some of the light, because some of this footage was shot when the sun was quite high up. And the drone footage is courtesy my friend Ismail Sharif, who accompanied me on the trips here. Very good learning experience with him. Extremely knowledgeable naturalist and snow leopard expert. As a final note, the Spur-winged Lapwing is being considered a provisional in the India birds checklist because it is not certain whether this bird is an escapee or it is completely wild. And unfortunately, there is no tagging or color coding the bird carries. So it's very difficult to state categorically whether this is a bird from the wild or it is an escapee from some zoo or somebody's pet. From what I know, the bird hasn't shown up as a trafficked bird, but one can never say. So, there have been cases where birds have been colored, dipped in color, etc. and whatnot. But till such time as it is conclusively proven that the bird is a wild bird, it will be considered in the provisional list rather than in the main list. It is quite difficult to prove these cases usually, but we'll see. But as of now, my hope is that it does prove to be wild and it does make it into the list. And if it is indeed a migrant from Turkey or some Middle Eastern country, a vagrant, I can only hope that they continue to come to India and make this their new home. Whatever the reason for the birds to come here to this lake near Warangal, it has created a lot of noise in the bird watching community, not just of Telangana but across the country. I'm told there are birders from Dr. Jagan, the man who saw this bird for the first time, the first sighting. He's mentioned that there are bird watchers from across India who have come here to document the spur-wing. Bird watchers from Delhi, Nagpur, you name it. I mean, including me, including we who have come from Hyderabad. It has definitely created a lot of excitement in the birding community, and obviously led to a number of questions as to where the bird has come from, why it has come, and what it holds, what the future holds. Will they fly back to wherever they've come from, or will they make this their home? Who knows? That's the whole fun of watching these birds, And lakes like these are hotspots for migrant birds every year. And all I can hope is that this continues and we are able to preserve these kind of locations, these lakes, and reap the benefits of having unusual migrants each year.